everyone, this is Melanie from Melanie B's Creative Studio. And today I'm going to discuss a PaintWorks Dimensions painting. So I got this painting because a lot of the members on my group are getting this kind and they're asking me questions about, do they need to gesso it? How do they frame it? All the things. And since I had never tried one like this, it's very difficult for me to, give advice. So what I thought we would do is kind of compare the differences on something that is going to be painted on a board versus something that's painted on a canvas. So let's go ahead and open this. Now, first of all, it came from Amazon. I purchased this one from Amazon. I know Hirschners.com has the Plaid Dimensions paintings as well. And I've heard great things about that website. They also once in a while add a coupon. The only reason I didn't get it from them is because it was $11.99 for shipping, and unless I get a free shipping coupon, I will not pay that. So I got it from Amazon. I will link you to this particular one. And I chose this one because if I ever get around to painting it, I would love to give it to my son and his fiance. They live in a cabin in the woods, and I don't know, this just like spoke to me, and I thought they would enjoy this to put in their home. So first, let me point out the back. What I like about this right off the bat is that they give you techniques for blending. They discuss different types of blending techniques. So this one is dry brushing. This is talking about applying a wash. This is talking about feathering, stippling, detailing. And so that is a great piece of information, or I guess I should say pieces of information to have at your fingertips. So let's get this open and take a look at our contents. Okay, so when I opened it up, I gotta tell you guys, this is a funny little extra side note. These were taped on the inside of the box, and I'm shaking my box like, okay, where are the paints? Is this a cruel joke? And they were actually foam mounted on the inside of the box. So thankfully, I do have them. It looks like there's 18 colors total. I will open this up in a minute and we'll discuss paint. There's a paintbrush that's actually taped to the back of our board, and that's gonna drive me nuts right there that it just tore my board. I know it's the back, but still. Okay, so I wanna also point something out. I did say I purchased this from Amazon, but what I didn't say is I got it in 2 days. So because I have Prime shipping, I'm a Prime member, it came in 2 days, which was fantastic. I didn't have to wait for 900 years like I do the ones that come from China. And so that was a perk for sure. All right, so first I'm noticing great texture. Like this has got a really nice texture. It's almost a linen texture. It's not deep, it's just a really beautiful paper. So it's got a coating on it, but it's not a plastic coating, it's a paper coating. The other thing you're gonna notice is that there's a taupey kind of color for the lines and the numbers and the symbols. It is not necessarily gray, it's more of a taupe. Okay, so that's the first thing I'm noticing, which means coverage should be really good if the paints are good. They also gave me a paintbrush, which is a nice size for some of the larger areas. I don't know how this would work in some of these little areas, tiny areas. It might work if you do what you got. Of course, I have a million paintbrushes, so it's not like I'm really gonna have to be too picky and use this one. But if you're a newbie and you're just starting out, you will get at least one paintbrush with this kit, and it is a wooden one. So be sure not to leave it down in your water for any length of time. That goes for all your brushes. Okay, so here we have, looks like complete instructions, everything we need. So in this side is gonna be our guide. Oh, here we go. So it looks like they've broken it down because it's a wide format landscape image. They've broken it down into 2 sections for reference. So this one looks like it's going to be requiring color mixing. And I've just done a video on color mixing if you're just mixing paint to replace the ones in your existing paint by number kits. But this one actually requires you to mix paints to get some of the colors. So that should be interesting. I don't mind mixing paints, except that now that I've been so spoiled to paints coming in pre-mixed, then, you know, I'm like, well, I'm not sure I'm all about that life. So you know what I'm saying. It's called laziness and being too busy. But I do think it's a great challenge, and I really do want to try to mix colors. I think that's gonna be another video. It's like, if you have a PaintWorks or a Dimensions or any kind of paint by number that is like this, then I would love to be able to talk about the paint mixing and explain, you know, what you need to do, how you need to do it, so that you're prepared when you get a painting like this. So I'm gonna open up all these paints and let's take a look at those. So here we have our 3 sets of paints. There are 18 total paints, and so what it tells us over here, for an example, let's get them in order here. This is, I don't know if these come apart. I'm not sure how these do. Oh, they do. All right, so I'm so used to having my paints kind of like this that I would, you know, you could open it that way and hold it. All right, so they do come apart. I like to, if I have an option, to have a set of 3 or just 1 in my hand, but usually I kind of go for like a set of 3. So that's nice that you can kind of break these down into smaller little sections. And then the way it works is there's regular standard numbers, 1, you know, all the way up to 14 here. 15 has a symbol. I don't know what that means, so I'm not sure. It's like an asterisk on all 4 of these, so I don't know what that means exactly. Because this is just a first look and unboxing type of situation, and so I haven't had time to play with these things yet. And then we have our mixed symbols. So anything with a letter, it looks like, is going to be a combination of 2 of these. So let's say, for an example, A is going to be our sky. So A is 1 and 2 mixed together. So we're going to take an equal part of number 1 and an equal part of number 2, and we're going to stir those up, and that's going to become A for us. So what I would do is get little paint pots, 21 of them, and you can either mix as you go, or you can mix them in advance, which I know a lot of people do that. So whatever's your efficient method, whatever you find to be most efficient for you is what I would do. You will figure out your own method as you work. For me, I just feel like if I don't do them in advance, then I'm never gonna finish this piece. I would rather pre-mix, I believe. I just hate the idea of having to use 21 little paint pots to mix in. I also have little jars that I use for cosmetics that would probably work just fine as well. Or like Lakons. I don't know if you know what a Lakon is. I have 500 of those somewhere in storage for makeup and samples. And I guarantee you that would probably be the cheapest way to mix up the paint for these colors. So that's what I would do. Unfortunately, I don't have a Lakon to show you, so I'll insert a picture of what it is right here. And then I will link you to that in the description so that you can go find those if you want to try a Lakon for putting your extra paints in. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is test some of these paints just like I would on any other type of paint by number that I've received. We'll swatch a few paints. I wanna look at the quality of them. I wanna look at the opacity of them. I want to know before I start what these paints are gonna be like. I also want to get a feeling for the texture of this canvas and how it's going to hold the paint. I don't think it's going to be necessary to gesso this board. I feel like it is, because it's a paper, it's gonna hold the paint better than it would if it's a slick canvas, because it's not slick really. I can't explain it. I would be more concerned about gesso causing some kind of warping than I would painting it without it. I always prep my canvases with clear gesso, no matter what. But this isn't a canvas, so it's a different little animal. And so we're gonna approach it differently. So number 5 is gonna be this beautiful blue. Ooh, I wasn't expecting gloppy paint. Okay, let me get some stir sticks. Oh, yeah, I've got a couple right here. Okay, I've got my cosmetic wipes ready. I've got a couple of the Chalk Couture spatula stir sticks. And I'm gonna get a paintbrush here. That paintbrush is fine. I'm just gonna go ahead and use one I'm used to. I'm going to use the 5-piece detail brush set that I've talked about in one of my recent videos in a size 1. And let's go ahead and get it stirred up. I don't know if I need flow aid. I mean, paints settle, you know, over time. Let's see though, the paint is getting a little bit clumpy. I'm gonna try it directly out of here, but you see how it looks? So I'm going to add a little flow aid. Well, I'm gonna test it first, and then I'm gonna add a little flow aid to it. It's very clumpy. I don't like clumpy. Oh, I don't like clumpy. Ah, I don't like clumpy. I don't necessarily want to add anything to my paint if I don't have to. So I don't add stuff unless it really needs it. I mean, the paint has got beautiful coverage. It's just really clumpy. That is just smooth. And I'll tell you what, I could get spoiled painting on this paper stuff. I like this texture. I like the fact that it doesn't have, you know, the sandpaper feeling, but yet it holds the paint so nicely and it doesn't slip around like it does sometimes on a canvas. Liking it, and I really love these pots. I wish I could order some of those just like they are, just pots like that. I might have to look that up, see if they carry empty pots. Okay, I'm feeling compelled to finish this section right here. All right, I'm gonna add, oh gosh, I can't stand that, little blobs. I'm going to add some flow aid and just see if I can get this to be a little bit less clumpy consistency and go from there. My bottle of flow aid is getting very low, and so it's drippy. And like when I turn it over to drop a little bit of flow aid in there, it like spills. So I'm just gonna go in with my little eyedropper, drop 2 drops in there. Here, this is the one. And mix it up. I'm stirring from the bottom. I want to make sure I'm getting it mixed all the way in. Wow, that is a clumpy paint. I don't understand. It's like little balls of pigment. I don't know. Maybe that's just this color. I mean, the color's going down beautifully. I don't know. Let's try it again. Let's see what it looks like now that I've got some flow aid in it. Make sure it's not too diluted. Okay. So I purposely went in different directions. Like sometimes I'd go down, sometimes I'd go sideways. I want to see how it dries and what the stroke marks do if I left stroke marks unintentionally. And I'm going to let that dry. It looks like it's drying very quickly, and it's drying to a matte finish. So I will see what kind of coverage I got. Now normally I would use a flat brush in a large area and then do the details on the side, but since I had this brush close, that's what I used. So I've got a little palette here because I'm only gonna do a tiny amount, not enough to put into a paint pot or a Lakon, because I don't have a Lakons. I've got to go get them out of storage, but I don't want it to waste. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of, let's see, D is a mixed color. So it says we're gonna use number 1 plus number 5. So the one we just used, number 5, I'm going to scoop a little bit out. I'm gonna try to not get a lot. So let's scoop a little bit out of that one, because I just want to do a couple of little spots. All right, and then number 1, I didn't stir this one yet. So this paint looks pretty good the way it is. It doesn't look choppy and clumpy. So let's just add a little bit of this one. See if I can get it pretty much the same amount. See, that's where I'd be like totally OCD. I mean, I would be like, okay, it's not exact. Oh my God, I'm gonna screw it up. Yeah, that's how I roll. I actually tested myself on a quiz the other day to see if I was OCD. It was close, but not quite. And I was like, yay, so I'm a perfectionist. Okay, I'm mixing these up. It's creating a very beautiful pale blue, which is what I would expect when I add white to a color. And it's very creamy. If it weren't for those little blobs in there, it would be a super consistency. Like, I mean, perfect. I'll never be able to match this exactly the same again though. It's got me a little concerned. All right, so let's do, because I have quite a bit here, let's try this little section here. Okay, so the letter didn't cover right off the bat, but when I went back over it real quick, it looks like it's gone. You have to work with that paint very quickly because it will dry. It does not take long to start drying out. That's why I suggest using a little container that will close, like a Lakon. So those would be ideal because you can seal them back up and your paint's not going to dry out. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So that is a very light tint of that color there. Now that that's dried, it's very messy looking. So a flat brush would probably work a lot better than this round that I'm using, but I didn't have mine. Now, if I was painting this, it would not be laying in front of me on a coffee table where I'm all bent over. It would actually be in my lap where I can see details and stay inside the lines, which I'm not doing at this moment. So that's one of the perks to having this on a board. It can go on your easel, it can go in your lap, it is lightweight. So, and I didn't mention the size. I think the size of this painting is a 16 by 20. And I haven't measured it to be 100% sure, but I feel like because this is an American company, it's based on American standard measurements. So 16 by 20, which means if I frame this for my son, future daughter-in-law, then I can get a frame off the shelf and put it in there. And it will be fabulous. So that might be what I do. If it is exactly 16 by 20, it'll fit just perfectly. I went ahead and painted that entire section and used up all the paint that I had. And so let's talk about my first impressions and how I feel about a board versus a canvas. I feel like I would love this. If I get this painted and it looks like the ones that I do on canvas, I would totally be happy with these on a board because, like I said, framing would be easy. The texture is nice. Now I am gonna have to go back over because the paint is drying a little bit mottled, and I like a very smooth texture. Now one day I would take a corner and maybe put a little clear gesso on it and get see what happens to the board. But I feel like if you put gesso, clear gesso on this, it might just seep through it, and I would be very wary of that. I think this is a great way to paint. So if you see a paint on a board, like something like this, like shipper, I want to try a shipper painting. I haven't had the money to do it yet, but I really want to try one of theirs. I believe theirs comes on a board as well. I am okay with this. Like, I feel like it's a great idea to do it on a board. So I hope this has been helpful and you've learned a little bit about the differences between a canvas and a board, and go try one. I feel like everybody should get their hands on one of these at some point. They're not super expensive. I believe I paid $19.99 for this one with prime shipping. I didn't have to pay shipping. And like I said, it came in about 2 days, a 16 by 20. Now they are limited on designs, but you know, if you are new to this whole thing, it might be a great one to start with. Or even if you are more advanced, I feel like this is still a great painting because you're gonna have to mix a little. It's a little more challenging than just getting your colors and being like, here I go. I don't have to mix, I don't have to do. So that's my opinion, you guys. Have a wonderful day. Thank you as always for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, thumbs up, and go join us at the group where we have a wonderful group of people who are helpful and share their work and just can answer all the questions if I'm not available to do so. All right, see you back soon.